Hey guys, it's your cousin E.N.D here with my review of FairyTail chapter 501 titled Mary and Randi. So, in this chapter, it was pretty awesome because we got to see that Lucy is actually not a hopeless little girl anymore. We see her fighting Brandish, and that she's learned a bunch of new magic, and that she's really gotten stronger. So, leading up to this fight, we had Brandish really acknowledge that Natsu is a threat. And that's just overplayed so much. We've seen so many of the Spriggan 12. We've seen August, now we've seen Brandish, and we've seen Invil all just say Natsu is going to be a threat to the Spriggan 12. We already knew this, it's being shoved down our throats at this point. And I'm a huge Natsu supporter, and it's just being shoved down our throats at this point. But so she acknowledges that, and she basically enlarges the tumor that she had made small in Natsu's stomach again. So that way he can't fight, and he's unable to, and he's on the verge of death. So Lucy, who's like, we can still be friends, and you see Brandish, she says she doesn't care, and she has that look in her face, like she's completely shut Lucy off, like, I don't want to be your friend, you're a threat to the Alvarez Empire, if you don't want to run, then I'm going to take you out. But Lucy shouldn't have been able to do what she did to Brandish. She was able to fight her off. She was basically putting Brandish on the defensive the whole time. Now, don't get me wrong, it was awesome to see Lucy use Aquarius' magic, where she basically turned the entire landscape into some big ocean. That was awesome because before the time skip, Lucy was just kind of a character who was there to tell the story, because the story is from Lucy's point of view. So she was just a character who was there to tell the story, who was there to basically, tell the story of Natsu, really. And she's definitely now able to hold her own. But I had a hunch. I was like, why is Brandish... She's supposed to be a Spriggan 12, and all of a sudden Lucy's on the level of the Spriggan 12, but Brandish was holding back. She doesn't want to fight Lucy. She doesn't even want to kill Natsu, as Mary said later in the chapter. She's just not interested in killing people that are killing those three, Happy, Lucy, and Natsu, because she does consider them a friend, regardless. Now, Mary sees Lucy and Natsu and Brandish, all three of them, because Brandish is now a traitor, as her enemies, and she goes in for the kill, and she basically blindsides Brandish and just slices her in half, or slices her stomach open, but I don't think she's going to die. You know, it's FairyTail. Brandish is just probably going to make the cut small, right? Because that's such an OP power, if you really think about it. So, she basically says, if Brandish, if you wanted to, you could have killed Lucy right off the bat, and you could have killed Natsu right off the bat. So why didn't you? And as I was just saying, that's because she doesn't want to fight them. She doesn't want them to die. So this is going to end up probably being in the future chapters, the real turning point that turns Brandish good. What I think might happen, actually there's a couple things, because we see Brandish at the end, we see Mary at the end say that she's going to make Lucy die a slow and painful death. So, a couple things that I could see happening. So, that was my chapter review, and now I want to talk about some things that I could see happening in the future. The first one is Brandish first makes her cut smaller, and then she makes Natsu's tumor smaller, and Natsu fights Mary. Kind of don't need to see that. Could see it happening, don't think it will. Second is Natsu being hurt. Make Brandish, maybe she doesn't make her cut smaller, and she passes out, and she can't make Natsu's tumor small again. And what happens is, when Natsu almost dies, it's kind of like when Naruto, before he mastered his power with Kurama, had a relationship with Kurama. If Naruto were to die, then the Kurama would come everywhere. It would basically come out of Naruto. Then maybe E.N.D, the power, will be released from Natsu if he's on the verge of death. Unless the Book of Zareth is destroyed. That is a big possibility. But the final one, which is kind of the most likely one, because it'll lead into a thing with Gray, is Lucy gets absolutely demolished. She gets hurt. It looks like she's on the verge of death. And Natsu freaks out, goes E.N.D mode, and just snaps, destroys Mary. In comes Gray, who, at first, Gray was probably on his way to see Natsu and confront him as a best friend, because that's what they are, they're best friends. Wanted to confront him, ask him if it's true, ask him why he never told him, all this stuff. But when he sees that Natsu is actually a demon, and he's probably got this demon form, Gray's not going to be able to control himself, because he still thinks Juvia is dead. He thinks E.N.D is the reason for everything. So that's probably what's going to happen. And I might do a theory video later on today, actually, about what I think might happen in the E.N.D versus Natsu fight. E.N.D versus Gray fight, but we'll see. And other than that, it was an alright chapter. I mean, FairyTail's been great, and then it goes to alright. So I'm going to give this chapter like a 5 out of 10. And the reason I say that is because it was cool to see Lucy. The only reason it got a 5 is because it was great to see Lucy like fighting on her own and everything. But if you don't pick up on the small details, then you kind of are stuck with the fact that you think that Lucy's on par with Sprig and 12 all of a sudden. And that's just not the case, and it shouldn't be the case. So, 5 out of 10. Hopefully next week's better. We'll get to see what happens. I hate waiting a week, but that's it. If you liked anything I had to say, if you guys could subscribe and like this video, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Hope to see you again.